difference between viruses. Let's see how important. This virus is very special, and throughout this video you will learn why it is so special and how we could overcome it. First of all, the coronavirus is a family of more than 300 members. This family is so broad. For example, we have a virus from this family that specifically infects whales. We have another virus that's specifically for cows. The one for cows will not infect the whales. And we have one specifically for cats. And of course, we have one for bats. And finally, one for dogs. There are more than 300 members in this family. Now, for some reason, 7 of these viruses broke through the barrier and were able to infect human beings. Here is something important. These viruses are RNA. They change structures easily, and it is discovered that 4 of these 7 have provoked grave illnesses. We have SARS from 2002, we have MERS from 2012, and we have SARS from type 2, which is 80% similar to the first one. SARS type 1, and is causing the current worldwide pandemic, this grave illness called COVID-19. COVID-19 has an RA, which is the rate of infection, where one person can affect 2 to 3 people. If corrective epidemiological means are not taken, like social isolation, etc., then in 2 days the cases can duplicate. It is very important to highlight a case in South Korea, a patient called Patient 31. Let's see what happened with this Patient 31. What happened is that there is over 30 cases in South Korea, and then the 31st case appeared. This lady went to a funeral, went shopping at a supermarket, attended church, had a traffic accident, then returned to church again days later, and the cases shot up from 30 to 1,200 because of her social contact. This epidemic or pandemic is very powerful. Let's look at some important information. It took 67 days for the virus to reach 100,000 infected cases. 11 days later, there were 200,000 cases, meaning it duplicated in 11 days. And only 4 days later, it reached 300,000 cases. And while we're making this video, there are already more than 500,000 infected people in the whole world. This infects because it's infectious. And sooner or later, you will get the virus and it might affect others. We need to avoid this virus as much as possible, but we also need to be ready to confront it. That is what we're going to explain here. The rate of mortality has changed a lot. We have Spain at 5.1%, China at 4%. Italy is no longer at 9%, but at 10%. This data changed. It is constantly changing as it's a dynamic change. Truly, what we need to know is that the rate of mortality was underestimated at first and now can reach even 10%. What was caused so many people to die in Italy? Italy is the second country in the world with most adults over 80 years of age, after Japan. After Japan, it is the country with the most people over 80 years. So the rate of mortality for this virus is greater the older the person is. Why must we avoid social contact? Why must we stop shaking hands? Why must we stop greeting people with a kiss? Why must we stop being so close to other people? Because the Patient 31 infected almost 9,000 people. It went from 30 cases to almost 1,200 cases so quickly because the patient had contact with many people but didn't take precautions. Why must we wash our hands? The answer is very simple. The virus has a diameter of 60 to 220 nanometers. It's very big and heavy. When a person sneezes, the particles fall to the ground and stay on surfaces. This often doesn't happen with others, like the human papillomavirus, which has a diameter of 52 nanometers. It's small. The hepatitis B virus has a diameter of 42 and measles of 120. This current virus is 2 to 3 times heavier and bigger than others. Let's look at something interesting. The cousin of COVID-19, which is SARS type 2, can stay on surfaces for a certain period of time, and it is believed that with the type 2, which is causing this pandemic, the very situation is very similar. Look at this. On a plastic or stainless steel chair, the virus can remain there inactive for 2 to 3 days and activate itself when a person touches it with their hands and then touches their mouth. On aluminum, it can last for up to 8 hours. It stays on surgical gloves for 8 hours. It could stay on waterproof or polyester clothes for about 16 hours. It could stay for 24 hours on cardboard, and surprisingly, it could last for 13 hours on stainless steel surface. Listen to this. It could stay on paper for 4 to 5 days, on glass for 4 days, and on wood for also 4 days. This means that surfaces remain contaminated, and when you come to touch it, the virus will get on your hands. It won't do anything on your hands, but if it gets in your mucous membrane, then it will cause damage. Why should we not touch our face? Why should we not touch our face when we're outside? Because if you touch your face, then you're letting the virus enter through your mouth, eyes, or nose, which will eventually enter through the mucous membrane, and then you're infected. We should carry hand sanitizer around with us when we go out, but remember that the most important thing is not hand sanitizer, but rather is soap. We will talk about that soon. Why should we maintain a distance of 1.5 meters? Because a person may sneeze quickly, lasting only 150 milliseconds, which is really fast. But if you're too close and the person didn't reach into their elbow to sneeze, then you will get the virus. On the other hand, if the person sneezes and you were 1.5 meters away, then the particles of saliva will fall in front of you and will not reach you because, as I've said, the virus is very heavy and already fell on the ground at 1.2 meters. It doesn't reach 1.5 meters. So it is important that we keep a distance of 1.5 meters from others in public places. So why should we use the right technique of sneezing? Because the main way a virus infects is through drops of contaminated saliva. So if you use this technique, then it allows the virus to stay on my clothes, not spreading everywhere. When I arrive home, I'll take off my clothes, leave my shoes outside because the virus is also spreading through shoes. I'll then enter my house where I can take a bath or a shower, and I could go to sleep knowing that I have not allowed the virus to enter in my bed. What is the pathophysiology? Why are so many people dying? This is an image courtesy of Dr. Hector Leon, where in a very didactic way, he makes a drawing and see for yourselves how there is fecal-oral transmission. On a cruise ship, there were many people that were infected because hands weren't washed properly before a meal was prepared, but also through salivary drops. So through fecal-oral or inhaled salivary drops that enter through the mucous membrane or form our hands to our mouth. When the virus reaches the lung, it reaches a part of the lung called the alveoli, where are the parts that allow you to breathe. So what happens is when the alveoli feel the presence of the virus, they release interleukins 1 and 6, as well as tumor necrosis factor alpha. When the lungs macrophages come to destroy the virus and neutrophil appears, there is an increase of vasodilation. The more blood comes, and here, blood fills the places where oxygen is supposed to be. The alveoli then collapse and oxygen levels drop. Then this is when damage begins in the organs. Renal function is affected, creatine levels rise, urine nitrogen rises, hepatic enzymes rise. The patient can go into septic shock. There is bad perfusion in the organs, meaning that they don't have good blood circulation. There is little gas exchange, and the patient collapses. This is what brings such severe respiratory and systemic complications. It all starts from contact with salivary drops or through infected hands. The important thing is that if you have the virus and you've had the virus for more than 7 days, as well as trouble breathing, then you should go to a doctor or medical professional. Why? Because the sickness will bring difficulties in breathing, and the moment that a person has this, they must be hospitalized. Let me repeat. The majority of COVID-19 patients will not have major complications and will overcome the virus easily. There are DNA viruses. What are DNA viruses? We have the example of the HPV or human papilloma virus. Something interesting is that the human papilloma virus can stay asleep for 20 years. There was a woman who had her baby. This baby acquired the virus through the birth canal, and when she became a young lady, she had the HPV virus without having any relations. She got the virus when she was born. It stayed asleep and reactivated 20 years later. The same thing happens with hepatitis B, which can stay in your body for many years and can result in liver cancer. And of course, we have the herpes virus, which comes and goes according to our stress levels. Then when a DNA virus enters, it will never leave. On the other hand, the RNA virus, for example, influenza types A and B, hepatitis A, respiratory syncytial virus, The dengue virus will enter your body for a while and then abandon it. These viruses generate in our bodies a resistance capacity, immunological memory, and antibodies. The same RNA virus will never affect you twice. We need to attain this. We need to overcome it today, overcoming it forever. When the healthy community is well, no longer transmits the virus, and has the ability to enclose it, that is when the virus will disappear. SARS type 1 from 2001 doesn't have any cases. That is why we need to form a group of people that are immunologically strong enough to overcome the virus. Now, why hand sanitizer or why soap? What you need is a soap that foams. Why? Because you can't kill the virus because it's already dead. Viruses aren't living, but they do activate when they enter the mucous membrane. The virus capsule is very thin, and the virus can be entirely eliminated when you use soap with a lot of foam. When you wash your hands, make a lot of foam. Don't waste money on antibacterial soap. You can buy a small bottle of liquid soap and add water. This is better than alcohol. You can then take a little bottle wherever, and you can wash your hands and dry them with a paper towel. Soap is much better than alcohol hand sanitizer. Alcohol hand sanitizer is when you don't have soap. But if you have soap, then use it. Alcohol hand sanitizers have run out around the world because everyone wants to have it and use it. Problems of dry skin have emerged because of excessive use of alcohol hand sanitizer. Soap is much better than alcohol. Alcohol should only be used if you're going out and don't have access to water where you can wash your hands. Now let's look at the origin of the word quarantine. It's very important to mention this because quarantine derived from 40 days, having to do with the Black Plague, where the bacteria Yersinia pestis lasted for 39 days. So the doctors back then created a quarantine of 40 days. But ours is actually just a fortnight. It's only 15 days, from 2 to 14 days when the incubation is over, and we will know if the patient is sick or not. Now, absorption of vitamin C is very important. A lot has been said about vitamin C, and I am here to say that it is good. We only absorb about 1 gram through oral intake, but this 1 gram is enough to do many things. Animals like cats, dogs, rats create their own vitamin C, starting from a molecule called glucose, which is a hexose. The body can form ascorbic acid in animals since they have an enzyme called gulonolactone oxidase, which is an enzyme allows vitamin C to be produced apart from sugar. But your skin color doesn't matter, and you don't make gulonolactone oxidase. It doesn't matter where you live, you just don't produce it. The totality of the human race is born with a genetic defect located on the chromosome 8p21.1 with the suppression gene of gulonolactone oxidase. We don't make vitamin C, and that is why we need to take it daily. It can make a difference for your body to overcome the virus. It has been said that vitamin C is urinated straightway and is useless. That is not true. It may urinate it, but it does affect your systems. Yes, it is water soluble, but it is a systemic effect. Ferdinand Magellan went around the world and talked about the Black Plague because the people that would go on ships often died because they had a vitamin C deficiency. Out of 350 sailors, only 80 survived. Dr. James Ling, in the year 1746, made an experiment to try to bring an end to the plague of the sea. It was a simple experiment. He had 12 sick patients and divided them into 6 groups. He gave one group seawater, the other myrrh, the other mustard, the other one nutmeg, and the last 2 limes and lemons. 2 limes and 1 lemon. Incredibly, those sailors who ate the limes and lemons stopped bleeding from the mouth and were healed. Today, science calls this sickness scurvy or lack of vitamin C. There is a genius in medicine, Dr. Linus Pauling, said that we all have a subclinical scurvy. We can see that this is a damaged skin with stretch marks. They need vitamin C because they don't have collagen. Dr. Klenner, a respected American medical professional, did some experiments with vitamin C taken orally as well as intravenously. Vitamin C positively affected poliomyelitis, hepatitis, measles, virocephalitis, chickenpox, herpes, viral pneumonia, like this one, for example, influenza, rabies, diphtheria, tuberculosis, infections from streptococcus, and pseudomonas. An ample trajectory demonstrated that vitamin C works excellently. The Mayo Clinic did a study that said it doesn't work, but they only experimented on oral intake, not intravenously like Dr. Klenner did. Intravenous intakes are marvelous. The Nobel Prize in Chemistry in the year 1945, Dr. Lionel Pauling, at the age of 90, would still take 17,000 milligrams of vitamin C intravenously. We suggest that if you're in a country that offers intravenous vitamin C intake, then do it under professional guidance. If not, then take juice from carrots, sweet peppers, and lemons, and that we mentioned in the previous video. Maintain your body loaded with vitamin C so that it may be powerful to overcome the virus. Lack of vitamin C can be seen in aging, stretch marks, and skin health. Patients with arthritis or rheumatoid will have a lot of success if they intake vitamin C supplements. In stress and lupus, in oxidative stress, which is when cells are suffering from the attack of an infection, and in patients with cancer and multiple sclerosis, the levels of vitamin C are very low. Let's take vitamin C. I repeat, carrots, sweet peppers, and lemons. You could drink the tea of a marvelous plant which is rich in vitamin C called the hibiscus flower. This plant gives a really red tea. It's a plant that is very rich in vitamin C. Now in viral and bacterial infections, low defenses, cardiovascular disease, in colon cancer, it inactivates the KRAS gene, which prevents chemotherapy from being productive, so we must combine vitamin C with it. Allergies, also patients with cancer, diabetes, infections, and recent operations, they all require greater amounts of vitamin C. Those who are stressed have intestinal sickness, and those who consume alcohol and tobacco have low levels of vitamin C. They have exhausted their reserves. I want to finish by saying that at our clinic, we give patients 25 grams of vitamin C intravenously. If you are a medical professional and that knows how to give vitamin C intravenously, then don't put less than this. Put the amount that would help a patient, which is 25 grams. This is the experience we've had. But if this message has reached you, but you don't have someone or somewhere to give vitamin C intravenously, resort to the hibiscus flower, drink the juice of carrots with sweet peppers and lemon, and drink the juice of oranges with kiwi and pollen. This will help you strengthen your immune system so that it may be powerful enough to overcome. I want to finish with this beautiful picture. Alma Clara Corsini, aged 95, and she beat the coronavirus. You can beat it too. Lord willing, this will all pass. It is very important for you to understand that your body has a cure against this virus in its RNA, and we could overcome it so that it will never come again. May God bless you. Share this information so that it may help someone, and so that we may help many others overcome and win the battle against this dangerous virus.